In Ogden, a line drawn from Lighthouse Lounge past Lobster Rock almost underlines a crow. I assume they mean a crow in the shape of a trail.
Or maybe a trail in the shape of a crow.
Oh, shoot, dude.
Probably more likely.
That's a weird looking crow. It looks like a trail.
Why do I want to walk on that crow? Oh, no, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello and welcome to Cash Me Outside. This is episode 5 of this year's hunt. I'm Caden with Christian and Chad. Sorry there's no John and Dave this week. Bit of a letdown for everyone out there probably.
I mean, everyone thinks our voice sounds like theirs, so maybe we could just pretend we're Dave and John.
That's actually pretty funny.
Give me that Almond Joy. That was my John impression.
That was classic.
I mean, it was really only your voice, right? I have a pretty distinct voice.
Well, here's the deal. I understand. So what we're referencing is a lot of people were confused about who was talking during our last interview, and it led to some confusion about what things were being relayed as official, like clues by John and Dave, which I get. Like, there's 5 of us on a podcast. That's a lot of voices.
I think it was mostly the people who have were listening to us for the first time who were getting confused. Because I saw a ton of comments that were like, I don't think you guys sound like them at all. Like, I think you're fine. But yeah, I think...
Hey, there's $25,000 on the line, so I get it. I mean,
yeah.
You gotta make sure that it's shadow, not shade.
So I actually posted on Reddit, in Discord, and on Facebook, kind of like the major groups. I released the interview episode with just John and Dave's audio. You can't hear us. You can hear us barely in the back. Mm-hmm. So it's super clear about who's talking.
Yeah.
The biggest confusion that people had was they thought that John and Dave said that the Lighthouse Lounge had nothing to do with the smell of ice cream line. But that was just us talking about our bets. That wasn't them saying that. So if you're listening to this and you thought that John and Dave said that as an official hint, that's not correct. That was actually us just chatting about it.
So people were wanting to know what John and Dave, what we did with them, like before and after the recording of the episode. They were asking you that?
Yeah, they were just like curious. Well, I think some people at first were like a little bit concerned that we like were sitting on the clues that we got.
Yeah. Okay. So this rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Honestly, this I did not have very much patience for this. These episodes, if we are doing a normal episode and editing it, only Christian's editing it, by the way. How long does it take you? 2 hours?
It takes, yeah.
And editing it is maybe a little strong. It's more just making sure the audio, because we're not professional podcasters. We don't have the nicest equipment. So just making sure that our voices can be heard and that no one's too loud.
You literally just described editing. Okay, that's editing.
That's more
we're
like
not
mixing.
Making a ton of cuts.
That's more mixing. We're not editing for content. We're just...
Like, we're not taking things in and out. The only really edits we make, like literally these microphones are the microphones that come with like your nephew's or niece's like karaoke machine that you're like, he's like, what? Are these real microphones? So maybe one day we'll get better equipment. We'll have that problem. But we're literally editing the audio levels like crazy.
Anyways, yeah. To that point, people were insinuating that we were cutting out clues and like sitting on clues just for ourselves, which that bothered me because have we not proven ourselves as like we don't care about the treasure as much as we do about the podcast and making this podcast valuable? Have we not like proved ourselves as pretty honest?
I was going to say I feel like I'm pretty interested in the treasure.
No, I'm just kidding. No,
anyways,
that's
I just
true.
didn't love that insinuation, and so
we make a podcast every week. We don't find the treasure every week.
So part of the problem was that John posted a story on his Instagram of us playing Punkaball, which I don't want to talk about too much because the patent is still pending. We are attempting to invent a new sport on the side, just one of those normal things to do. And we introduced it to John and Dave, and I think Dave's words were, and these are his words, not mine, this is the greatest sport I've ever played.
He didn't say that.
No, that's what he said.
He did love it, and John was loving it too.
He did repeat, this is such a good idea, maybe 12 times.
So our interview ended. They wanted to play, and then they loved it so much they wanted to play another game, and that is somewhat why it was delayed. But I was editing while they were playing. I was just distracted because it was
Pokeball's electric.
It is.
You know, it also didn't help that situation that
What?
I actually thought was kind of funny. John as well, in his story said, "Oh, they catch me outside, guys. Now have a like
Head
a lead
start.
on all you
Yeah,
guys."
that's what I was just saying.
I was like
he was
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
rubbing it in.
Yeah,
Which is kind of funny. He's just
It's obviously
that's
tongue in
his
cheek, though.
personality.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Hey, but we all hope you enjoyed the interview. We had a lot of fun.
It was
with
fun.
It.
It was great.
It was a blast. We got a ton of great information from it. I kind of had all those hints, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be solved this week. But it the hints are good. They gave a lot, but I think people are still so lost.
yeah, and we will get into that. Yeah, one more point to clarify after last week's episode. This week's episode is, I mean, people have been confused. Did I already say this? People have been confused thinking this podcast will continue releasing clues because they think we are affiliated with John and Dave. And that's just not how it is. We have them on once, maybe once, if they're feeling generous, per season. So this is the episode after. You're not getting anything groundbreaking or new from this episode.
Chad, don't say this at the beginning of the episode because we probably would have got all these people just to listen to the whole thing. Like maybe
Just
at
let
the
them
end.
keep believing it.
I mean, you'll still
When
get
does John come in?
groundbreaking. You'll get groundbreaking info. It's just not officially sanctioned or correct.
Groundbreaking.
But you'll get info.
It'll be info.
That's what we can promise. There's been some fun little drama this week, I feel like, in the treasure hint community. This may not be interesting to everyone, but I've kind of found it interesting and
I've
fun.
loved it.
Chad loves drama.
So
Chad's getting the drama that he always wanted.
do you want me to describe it?
Sure, please.
So there has been, up until last week, one main Discord channel, and that split up because of a situation with a past.
it's Chelsea.
It's Chelsea. Chelsea
past
Chelsea
winner.
jumped in. People got mad at her. She clapped back a little bit, and someone got kicked out. And that person who got kicked out went and created their another Discord. And so the creators of each of the Discords are after each other, and it's actually really funny. I hopped in the new one, and the creator of the original Discord somehow got in. And he left this message super passive aggressive, "Oh, you guys making your own." I don't remember what he said, but he clapped back. He's like, "Okay, I'm leaving the Discord now." And then the creator of the new Discord was like, "What the freak? How did he get in here?" It was actually really fun.
It was fun to watch.
Those two guys hate each other.
Well,
it's funny.
Homeboy who created his own Discord, I'm not a fan. He was fine. He was chatting with us a lot. He was nice. He used the R word, and I don't know why. That just really bothers me. I've got a brother who's passed, who's handicapped, and nephews and nieces, and when you just throw that word around, that's all I have to know is oh, you're ignorant, and I don't really care to talk to you. So
yeah, I mean,
sorry, buddy.
I mean, there are quite a few ways that people rub me the wrong way. Similarly, that's terrible. That's great. That's not great. Similarly, the other Discord creator, the way he started the Discord was with a Reddit post that said, basically, "Hey, I have a pretty dang good, I'm pretty sure I got the solve. I just need a couple teammates. I will message me and I will give you a question. And if you pass the question to my liking, then I'll allow you to join my team." And so the problem in
Answer
this,
my riddles
he's
3.
just
the problem in this other Discord channel, and I hope I'm not insinuating bias, but the problem that people are talking about in this new Discord channel is that he speaks down to people, and that there's this attitude that exists all over Reddit. If you guys are on Reddit, you'll see this type of thing. That's
Really, I thought Reddit was just a place for
Stop.
kind thoughts.
Normal.
No. I meant in
teamwork.
in the treasure hunt subreddit. I'm talking about specifically that I found the treasure, and I'm pretty sure I know 99% of it, and it's cute that you guys are all trying. You guys are so far off. So that's the problem in the new Reddit with the original Discord.
Yeah, they did
creator.
that one time, and it did create a stir. Here's my problem. I am so over people saying, "Hey, I've solved it. Wish me luck. I'm off to get it."
It's so dumb. I think
it's
listen.
every day there's 5 of them, and I'm so pissed, guys. Don't go on Reddit. And it does nothing. It provides no value to say, "Hey guys, I found it. Haha. Wish me luck. I'm off to go get it. It's like it's a no-win situation.
Well,
you're just going to come back with mud on your face, and it's just super annoying. Stop doing it.
We've since mended the relationship between, what was his, Ass Kraken?
Yeah.
But that was the first thing he did that rubbed me the wrong way, was like put out a fake solve. But I think that's what people are doing on Reddit when they're saying, yeah, I solved it. They're like doing this weird psychology thing, trying to throw people off or discourage them because someone else figured it out. And the way they're doing that is these posts that say, yeah, there's so many layers to this.
You guys, you don't even understand.
Yeah, you guys, it's so crazy.
It's like
I'm almost there. I just can't go get it right now. Like, maybe I'll go next week. It's so stupid. Listen, if you don't have the treasure, you haven't solved it.
You're the same spot as everyone else.
I feel like it's
as far as everyone
like
else.
an emo kid trying to like talk to his parents about like the new album of his favorite ska band. He's like, you don't even understand, Mom. There's like so many layers. It's deep. That's my emo guy.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's an exact equivalent, because that emo kid isn't trying to dissuade his mom from getting into the song.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's what's going on.
But
here.
if his mom likes it, then it's not cool anymore. So
that's true. So it's like, Mom, just make sure you never.
Anyways, I've appreciated my interactions with people on Discord of the group. I've met some friends, and they're really smart and have had some good chats there. So I if you do like and want, like, I understand people want a community, like they want to talk about it. They want people to bounce ideas off
and want feedback on their ideas and stuff, which is great.
Yeah,
but yeah. The talking down, the saying, I found this, you guys should just stop. Like,
it does no good.
Yeah.
Don't tell people you
really
figured it out and then like play games with them and being like trying to give them little clues to figure out your solve, which is 99% chance, like not true, not right. It just messes with them.
Yeah.
So if you think you figured it out, just keep it to yourself. Just try to see it through, prove it wrong, and then come back and be like, hey guys, I had this pretty cool solve and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like just stop playing the games.
Yeah.
Piss me off.
100%. Yeah, it's a little frustrating. Last item of business before we jump into your section, Christian, which is everything that makes sense about. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I appreciate it. Go on.
Your section, which is the solves, possible solutions, and stuff like that. Did you guys see the post on Reddit where they were talking about what our office looks like, or what and I posted a picture of Alex, who is another co-host we have on our other series, saying, hey, here's our office, and someone responded and they were like, wow, I thought you would look a lot nerdier.
Which
like,
honestly,
talking to me.
I get it.
What is it about the things I say or what my voice sounds like that makes you think that I'm just an absolute loser?
Chad is.
Let me count the ways.
Chad is handsome adjacent. No, Chad,
I love that joke so much.
You know, I think you're a catch.
Yeah, I know.
And the problem is, if you show your face too much, we're just going to get more and more people messaging us asking to go out with you. We've already had 3 this season. They'd be lining up.
I know. Too many broken hearts.
Yeah, I'm a heartbreaker, honestly.
So, anyways, we want to talk through some of those things. We obviously don't have the treasure. We did get out and we hiked this week. We got out there.
We did. How much can we say about it?
Well, probably not. We'll talk about it. The general area that we are interested in. It's not the correct solve. I mean, there's a chance there is, but we found some really cool and interesting connections that are at least fun coincidences to talk about if they're not leading to the right solve. Should I get into that now?
Yeah, I think so. Just to
Okay.
sum up on my end, I think we were all pretty clear that it wasn't correct before we even got out of the car.
Well, I think
We're like, this can't be true.
it's
real.
true, but like even the people who have found the treasure before, like
They've had those
they
type of
don't
thoughts.
go out. Yeah, I think they go in there pretty realistic, being like, "This is my lottery ticket. I'm going to see if I can cash it." Right? Like,
Yeah.
I have these things that line up.
Yeah. And has anyone gone out and just walked right to the treasure
No.
their
No,
first
yeah.
time? Like,
I mean, what were the 2 years ago? What were their names? We teamed up with them.
The Rice.
The
Last time was
Rice.
Rice.
Yeah, Rice.
They're so nice.
They're awesome. They hiked that trail multiple times, 3 or 4 times, right? And the 4th
Yeah.
time they found it, or 3rd time they found it. So that's the understanding you should be going on those hikes with, and that's kind of why I continued doing the hike, because I was like, yeah, I don't feel like this is it, but maybe let's just go.
I also want to say one more quick thing.
Yeah. Wait. Before that.
Okay.
Wait.
No, yeah, you got it.
No, Chad. Caden, you go first. Then Chad. Then me. Okay, what's your thing?
Did you have something?
No, I just was
Yeah,
making
you
a
just
joke.
wanted to. This is so stupid. I'm so
good.
sad.
Yeah,
I
good
did
thing
this.
you interrupted me. I'm sure.
Just go.
No, it's fine.
I bought hiking boots.
Oh, it's so funny.
Anyway.
One
Oh
hike,
man,
that's
why don't you just
amazing.
set your money on fire,
They're
dude?
really comfortable. I don't know why I did. I don't know
Wait,
why
you bought
I had
them
to throw
after
that.
you went on the hike?
Yeah. I just thought they'd be
Do you
useful to have.
put them on when you do some VR gaming to give you the?
I don't do VR gaming, but
Okay.
it was a good
That's
attempt
amazing.
at a joke.
Okay, well, you gotta
It
break
was
those
joke
in.
adjacent.
Hey, one more time this year though. It was just Chad and I who got out this week. So, Caden, we got to get you out here one of these times.
It wasn't, to be clear, I was not invited. They just
We-
left at lunch and went without me.
Kind
I
of an
would have gone.
impulse.
Yeah, real impulse hike.
Yeah, I mean, told my boss we'd be back in an hour and came back 3 hours later and missed a meeting.
Yeah, it was bad. Okay, so what was I going to say? What was my one thing I was going to say? Dang
Did you
it.
buy some slippers?
No. Okay, so we can get into the solve stuff. So going back to the interview, we obviously know that he is Cortez. Then another thing that Dave said in the interview as a hint was that we don't need math, but we need history. We need to crack open some history books. I think a lot of people, myself included, have then defaulted to look at history involving Cortez and Utah,
Yeah.
right?
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, one point I have on this that I have been thinking about is the first line, I mean, in retrospect, I thought it was a throwaway line, but knew that Cortez had quoted that. We had talked about it before. In retrospect, that was a pretty massive clue that he is Cortez. And so I don't think that, even though a ton of people wanted to know who he is, I don't think Cortez is necessarily as important as we might think as far as the location. Other than maybe just the age, 34 or 35, right? Maybe just the age is all you need. That's what I've kind of been thinking about, because that's they literally quoted him exactly. Like, we should have known that.
Yeah, I guess the question is, does it really set a theme? Like, is Cortez a theme? Are you trying to find multiple things that relate to it? That's the thing. And
I would just think that the theme would be a little bit more cleverly hidden than the first line and exact quote from that person. Do you know what I mean by
Yeah,
that?
I think the fact that like Spanish has to do with it. The problem is like, do you think Cortez is a theme or do you think Spanish is the theme?
I think Spanish is
'Cause
a
if you
bigger
think
theme than Cortez.
Yeah, if you think Spanish is the theme, it's like, okay, we mentioned Cortez, but doesn't mean like the history has to do with Cortez's history. Maybe it's more likely to do with Spanish history in Utah.
Yeah.
Now, technically, Utah, when Cortez arrived, Utah was part of Mexico at that time. Like,
Right.
he arrived in quote-unquote Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really loose connection. But I think I've been looking personally at, because he said history, because we have Cortez-related history. My biggest thing is looking for things that are related, and we could tie from Cortez and his arrival and everything involving there to Utah.
Which I assume you're going to get into your solve now, because it does exactly that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm leading into it, but thank
Yeah.
you for leading into my lead-in. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, someone's got to do it.
Okay, next time you open your mouth, I'm gonna be like, I assume you're going to say something dumb here.
That's
Okay.
funny.
So, in Tenochtitlan, how did I do with that?
Tenochtitlan.
Okay.
Tenochtitlan.
I'm going to call it T-Town for now on, because it's going to
Okay.
happen along. In T-Town, obviously, this is the city that Cortez conquered and where Montezuma was in the Aztec capital. The cool thing about this city is that it was on the middle of an island. It was an island in the middle of a lake. So
That is pretty cool. It's not like hanging off the edge of the island.
no, it's kind of cool. Like, it's Lake Texcoco, and it's this like. Did I not do that right?
I mean, it was good enough.
Okay, I'll call that Lake T as well.
Texcoco.
Town T and Lake T. And wait, Adagio T.
Adagio
Okay.
and T
Adagio
minor.
D.
D. Dang it. Okay. So there were these two sacred mountains that the Aztecs worshipped. These huge mountains that were just southeast of Lake T. The names of these mountains were, I'm going to brutalize these. There are these two mountains, Mount Popocatépetl and Mount Iztaccíhuatl.
Good.
I don't know
Wow.
why I adopted like an accent in
That
the
was
middle
great.
of that.
Yeah.
Okay, there are these two mountains that are right next to each other. They refer to as Twin Peaks, and they were worshipped by the Aztecs. This actually was mountains that had glaciers and snow at the top of it. One thing that's a really interesting side note, Montezuma would send his men up to the top of this mountain to bring down snow and ice from the top of the mountain, and he would mix it with his chocolate, his chocolat. Now that's just French.
Wow.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Chocolat.
As we know,
Montezuma was a gourmand.
And it was like ice cream. He'd mix it with ice. So it's an interesting connection.
Not gonna lie, it sounds made up.
I found it on the internet, so you know it's real.
Okay.
Okay, so this mountain is called Popocatépetl. It's called.
Hey, I will say that the residents in Mexico just call it Mount Popo.
Okay, perfect. Mount Popo and Mount Izzy. They're called the Smoking Mountain and the White Woman. They are volcanoes, now dormant volcanoes. Okay, the name of these mountains was based on a legend of this princess, Princess Popo, who fell in love with this warrior, Mr. Izzy. And it was very Romeo and Juliet. One thought the other one died and killed themselves, and they hadn't really died, so that one killed himself too. Anyways, what the legend is that Mount Izzy is the woman, and she's laying down, and it's the mountain, and the outline of it is the shape of a woman. Okay, so
Sound familiar?
yeah, and this mountain is 45 miles southeast of Lake T. And it's covered with, like I said, dormant volcano, covered with snow and glaciers. The pass between these two mountains, the name of it is called Paso del Cortez. I'm not even going to try an accent. And I believe that means the Pass of Cortez, because famously he...
Paso actually means he passed.
Okay. He passed Cortez. Who passed him? So it's literally the pass between the mountains is named after Cortez. Sorry. The reason I think this is so cool and this is so exciting is because Mount Timpanogos is so similar to this mountain. It's named after Mount Timpanogos after a princess who fell in love with a warrior who died, and then she killed herself. And the outline of Mount Timpanogos is famously the shape of this princess. Almost the exact same story of the lore.
It is cool. It's a great connection.
Timpanogos.
Of
It's a great
Timpanogos and Mount P and Mount T.
Is there?
And
is
no,
there?
I'm not done yet.
I just have a question.
Okay, imagine you're going to say something dumb.
No.
Good. This had better be
Well,
good.
now I am. Is there a pear mountain in the story of Timpanogos, like with the Mexico City one?
So it's a twin peak. So
It's called Twin.
yes,
what's it
it's
called?
referred to as Twin Peaks. There's actually a couple different Twin Peaks in Utah, but Box Elder and Timpanogos I've seen referred to as Twin Peaks. They're separated by the AF Canyon is what separates them. And also I've heard Lone Peak and Timpanogos referred to as Twin Peaks. Just heard or I've seen online. But it's not famously like Twin Peaks. Like we live right at the base of it. Kate and I grew up here. We never heard anyone say, "Oh, yeah, it's the Twin Peak area." But, anyways, but there are no like Timpanogos is the lore in itself. It doesn't share the lore with like another mountain like Mount P and Lake T. Okay, but these mountains are 45 minutes south of Lake Texcoco, Lake T. Now, Lake T, really interesting. When Cortez discovered Lake T, he called it a Great Lake of Salt because it was famously a very brackish lake, had tons of salt in it. And so mirroring the Great Salt Lake perfectly. Guess what? Guess what's the distance between the Great Salt Lake and Mount Timp? I measured it myself.
45 miles.
45 miles. And what direction?
South.
Why 45 miles?
West.
Why did you guess that?
Because that's
Because I'm paying attention to the story.
The
Oh,
lake
it's the
touched.
exact same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what I actually measured, because City T is
T-Town.
T-Town. Because T-Town, it was an island in the middle of the lake.
Uh-huh.
I actually measured from Antelope Island, the center of Mount Antelope Island, to it, and it's 45 miles southeast, like the same direction.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mount Timpanogos is also a dormant volcano. It was previously a volcano. It's famous for its glaciers and it's for its snow. So,
That's really cool.
thank you.
That is.
It was
really
great.
cool.
I was loving reading this when you sent this.
So
It's
very
amazing.
much like an interesting connection, especially that they're both in the shape of a woman. They have the same type of lore, the same type of story. Now, there's many routes up to Mount Timpanogos. There's even shortcuts online, things that people talk about, a shortcut to the top of Mount Timpanogos.
Yeah.
There's an amphitheater at the base of one of those trails. What's
So,
the biggest problem?
The biggest problem is you have to pay to park. You have to pay to get in. Well, I don't know. You said that going up, because you can get to Timpanogos from AF Canyon, AF Canyon.
You can get it from AF Canyon, you can get there
and
from Provo
you
Canyon.
only have to pay through that canyon if you plan to camp. That's what you said before.
So technically, you have to pay regardless. Caden and I grew up in Alpine
Okay.
and
yeah.
never paid a
Why did
dime.
you-
to
No,
that
that's
company.
not true. That's not true.
Did you
I
pay?
paid. Yes.
I never paid.
Okay.
Because like you're supposed to pay to go to Tibble Fork, and
Yes.
heaven knows I would go there a lot by myself to listen to
No.
show tunes.
Let the record show. I always paid. The only time I didn't pay was when we went to Mutual Dell.
thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
and like I don't know, like I just never pay. Like even to this day, I'll just drive right on by. I'm like, yep, just driving through,
Oh my gosh.
doing the Alpine Loop.
What, they just let you?
Yeah, they're not going to stop you. There's not because it is legal just to drive. You don't have to pay to drive.
Okay.
So it's just but technically it's national forest. Technically you have to pay. So AF Canyon is basically
It's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds. You can't
Yeah.
go up AF Canyon for anything. So Provo,
That's
obviously,
that's the entirety of Mount Timpanogos.
no
Any
you get
way to get up there,
no Provo Canyon.
but getting up to Timpanogos, you have to pay.
No, if you go the AF Canyon way, you do. If you go up through the Provo Canyon way, you do only if you go past to the trailhead past Sundance. There's a pay station right at the top above Sundance where if you park there, then you do have to pay. If you park below it or go through a different way, then you don't have to pay.
Interesting.
Now, Mount Timpanogos is famously probably the best view. It's very well known.
I mean, it is
From the
like
top.
the most well known, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean,
We're
at
not going to
most
the top.
90 minutes the hike.
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's
just
not
saying,
the top.
I'm not
It's
saying I'm not saying the top, but just like if you're trying to generally find the place with the best view is just generally telling you a direction of like it's this mountain. I don't like it. I know. I obviously don't think this is the right solve. I probably wouldn't be so free with sharing this with everyone. I think there's a lot of interesting connections from an amphitheater where a choir could
it's
sing.
fun to talk about, and I think there's probably some things that are right in what you said.
Do you want to know the name of the Mount Timpanogos Trail when you go to the trailhead?
Timpanuki, which one?
It's the number. It's on the trailhead.
Oh, isn't it like B52 or
It's
something?
B52.
Yeah.
Is
That
it
is pretty amazing.
B52 or just 52?
Oh, sorry. It says 52B.
Oh, 52B.
Yeah. Is what it says. Like it's not just like it says there once on the name of the trail
Which,
on the where 52B.
just to reiterate what that is for the listeners. 52,
Yeah,
what's the
B52s have a
connection?
famous song called Rock Lobster that many people are kind of connecting.
Yeah. And yeah. One thing I was going to throw in, are you done with that solve?
Yeah,
Because I don't
pretty
want
much.
to interrupt. That you kind of alluded to with the best view, people were wanting us to discuss this. Could the best view mean the treasure is in a tree? What do you guys think about it being in a tree?
I don't think it's in a tree.
I don't love it. I don't think
There's
it's in a tree.
Wind, like there's too much factor that could cause it to fall.
And when they were here, they told
This
us
is
that
the brush
it's
aside.
just like with a brush of a hand. They didn't say if it
Yeah.
was rocks or pine cones or leaves or a combination of the three.
So
They just said it's covered, and if you swipe your hand across, that's all you need to do to uncover it. You don't
Yeah,
need to dig. You don't need
it
to.
does seem like it would be easier to see if you put it in a tree. Like all you do is look. I mean, it depends on the tree, but and then the other problem is damage to the tree, then they're
or the danger of climbing a tree.
Climbing trees.
I don't think it's in a tree.
I don't think it's in a tree either.
Probably not. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities, but I don't think that
I would make my new bet is it's not in a tree. I'll have 2 bets this season.
I will do unspeakable things if it's in a tree. Say anything and I'll do it. Anything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Streak.
Done.
He does that every Thursday anyways.
So some people were saying that maybe the best view is just the treasure itself.
I think. Do you want? So I think the best view. So we're going to talk about derecho and everything, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about it right now. Go ahead.
So I think that when you get to here, I don't have the line in front of me. Let me pull it up. So last week on the podcast, they clarified that they had the original word that they had in there was adelante for forward. So the line says sigue derecho lo puede hacer, which means continue going straight. You can do it. Yeah. And the original word was keep going adelante, which is forward. Keep going forward. So you can do it.
They're making the distinction between forward and straight. That's what they refer to. And just to clarify what you're talking about is people are saying that, yes, it says derecho, but derecho can also mean right. Which is
not true because
it is partially true. So
it's like saying
what they mean by right isn't turn right with the definition of derecho being right, more like upright or do you know what I mean? Like
sure.
I've never heard derecho used in any way to mean right. I don't think
right now
Christian said something dumb here.
I would
Christian, last night was your anniversary and I saw you messaging in Discord at 11:30 p.m.
Hey,
so I don't think
we all have our own type of foreplay.
And I would give
you gotta see what Chelsea said.
Christian said something dumb here.
No. Ew, dude,
just
that's crazy.
Christian said something dumb
here.
That
That's crazy. Oh, you can't be saying that.
Okay, sorry.
Christian said something dumb there?
Yeah, that's going to get cut up for sure.
Yeah.
No, and I would maybe give more credence to that if they didn't say last week that they changed the word adelante to derecho to make it more clear that it means go straight.
Well, I need help on this because I don't understand how the distinction between the two is really that important. If you're coming to a point where there's a fork in the road and one is going straight and one's going right, then going forward or going straight would be inconsequential.
It makes perfect sense to me because if you are on a trail and you say go forward, that means follow the trail regardless of whether it weaves or stuff. Yeah, that changes the definition if you come to a fork. But if you're on a trail, you're following the trail forward.
So you're thinking forward is not directional. It's more just like momentum, like just staying with the current path. Well,
and straight is like even if you have to leave the trail, go straight, which is why I think they made that distinction. This might be the line where you get off the trail or...
So, yeah, I think... So it could be one of those two things, obviously. I think if it's a fork in the trail, they want you to stay straight and not branch off. But if you go... So my theory is it's like a meadow or an area off the trail. It's not on the trail, but you can still go there. So typically on these hikes, you want to stay on the trail. And there are areas off the trail that are dangerous or whatever, but then there's also places in some areas where there's places to hang out, like a lake or maybe not a lake, but just like places to hang out.
Like a meadow.
Like a meadow. Meadow's the thing that comes to mind. And so if you go straight once you get to that meadow and go into the meadow, and then maybe there's an elevated part of the meadow where the best view is.
Well, I mean, didn't they?
I'm
along the same line.
I just think that it's. Why did we start talking about this?
It's forward
versus derecho and derecha. But no, I agree. Didn't they have a similar type of line with the Rice family solve where it's like go up on a crest? They were supposed to.
Yep.
Wasn't there something like that? And it was just like, go up onto the hill, and then you'll find that rock where it was. So I think it's just within 100 yards.
Yeah, if you're in the right space,
directional information.
So here's a thought, though. To me, what's always been really confusing to me is that the hint about you needing to measure as the crow flies, which is the year that he arrived, is what I observe, right?
Yeah.
You have that, and then separate than that, you have them saying that the treasure is 30 to 50 feet off the trail. So to me, it doesn't make sense that those are the same actions, right? To me, you measuring the distance as a crow flies, that's the same as age, is not that 30 to 50 feet. I think they're two separate things.
Yeah.
I think this point where you maybe get off the trail or divert from the trail is the point that you start your measurement from of the age at which he arrived. And for most people, they're thinking that's 34 or plus 1, 35, or I forget if it's 33, 34 or 34 or 35. Or a lot of people think it's 19 too, because that's when Cortez arrived to like the Americas for the first time. But to me, it's like that's where you start your measurement from, and that's going to take you somewhere.
Yeah.
That then from that point, you are
to
searching
a different trail.
I think it's to a
With
different
this-
trail. Like I really do.
With this, I think there are two most likely possibilities. That what he's insinuating with the crow flying and like you're measuring a distance. I'm like speaking right into it.
No, you're talking so
With the crow flying and like measuring the right distance, it's either from the trailhead, the parking lot, to the spot where you're exiting the trail or the other trail, like you're saying, or so that's the first possibility, or it's the shadow is the line that it's giving you the direction that you then pace off that 34. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's just tough because that's so far back in the poem. Like I think it's a good point, and I want to get to that later because I want to talk about the shadow in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a good point, because even if you were to measure something as the crow flies, you need two things. You need the distance, but you also need the angle, right? So,
well, I mean, that's what the shadow does.
Yeah.
It gives you the angle.
Yeah, if you go back to all the way back there and use that as your angle. But the problem is, in their hint, what they said is that the shadow isn't supposed to be exact. It's just supposed to show you generally the way you're supposed to go, is how they phrased it.
Oh, did they say it like that?
So I think it's a good idea, but it kind of reduces the fact that you use that as the plane. As the slope.
angle.
But to me, like the measuring the age where he arrived, what's tricky about that is the +1 to me. Because why tell us the +1 if it's going to be 34 feet or 34 meters? That +1 is inconsequential. It's like, okay,
it's got to be.
That is almost a dead giveaway that it is not feet or meters.
100%.
Because it doesn't matter. If it wouldn't matter if you were 5 off.
No.
So why did they say... Why did they make the distinction to say, hey, you guys, it's +1?
8? Dare I say 8?
No, that's where it's getting a little crazy.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
you're
a little much.
You're getting a little crazy.
I mean, so to me, then we're looking at kilometers.
Miles.
See, I think it's actually going to be kilometers.
Why?
Because
I don't think you have anything to base that off of.
Yeah, exactly. So, first of all, when they gave the hint, he said people like Indiana Jones, Long John Silver, and Captain Jack Sparrow all measured distances. And as we all know, those three would always use kilometers. No, I'm just saying, like, it's a more common term, especially with the reference to Cortez and everything like that, to use kilometers. That would be my guess.
I feel like that's pretty loose. But
I mean, I like it more than
miles.
I mean,
I like it more than miles. I like it more than miles.
If you're saying those three people, what they use more likely, I guess you could be like a fathom or a
well,
span.
I was thinking
A fathom is depth.
I was thinking
That's true.
because Harrison
They say
Ford or
leagues.
Indiana Jones ruins this, but like nautical
Yeah.
something
Like a nautical mile.
Jack Sparrow and
Long John
whoever the other
Silver.
Long John Silver.
Yeah.
But I think I like kilometers more because they're shorter too. Like they're not as long as miles.
But isn't this so weird because they said it's a 0 to 90 a 90-minute hike. Well, if we're looking at 3.4 kilometers, that itself is probably a 90-minute hike, depending on the ease of the hike, right? So that's where it gets confusing to me, because how is it supposed to be something bigger than miles? Bigger than what's in between a kilometer and a meter?
Well, this brings up a point that I think is my boy.
I mean, there's
I guess you could do 0.34.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I was going to say, this brings up a point that my boy Caleb Zollinger Moore, I think it was him who suggested that we ask John and Dave, and I actually forgot to ask this question, but like if all of the clues are east of I-15 or just the
We did ask that question, and they didn't answer it.
We did ask it?
Yeah, they said
I don't think we did.
We did. I remember.
Chad, where the heck were you, man?
I was there.
No, you weren't.
No.
We asked him.
Well,
We
I've
asked
been
it,
apologizing.
and they said no
I'm
comment.
pretty sure Caleb said, "Hey, why did you guys ask that?" And
No.
I was like, "Oh, sorry." Anyways,
Chad, oh my goodness.
listen,
man.
okay, because I think people have been operating under the fact that that smokestack, the south side of Salt Lake, might be the tower and the shadow, and that 35. I don't know if 35 miles from that does that get you up into the mountains, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a possibility. If you are stretching out past I-15, then you can use those type of clues
Yeah, that's true.
to get you back to the mountains.
That's true. I think, yeah. I just the place where you start your measurement, to me, it feels like it's got to take you directionally to another trail, and maybe. If it's 0.34, maybe where you get off and go forward, you can do it. There's a lot of deer trails out there. You know what those are? Like
Just like game trails.
yeah, like they're not officially on the map, but you can see them and you can follow
I'm
them.
not sure
through a
I
meadow.
understand what you mean by take you to another trail. Like, do you mean you're going up a trail
Because
and
they
then you
said-
have to go back down and go to a different trail,
or
line
you
and then
like
go
cut
up?
across a meadow to a one that's perpendicular, and you do a 0.35 miles across that meadow.
I don't
to get
hate
there.
that. I don't hate that.
Because they said it's 30 to 50 feet off a trail. So that's the biggest thing. It's like those things. There's like a disconnect or dissonance of you having to measure as a crow flies from one spot on the trail and then getting to that trail and searching 30 to 50 miles off it. So
I guess yeah, I could see it. It's either either that or something like your last year's solve where it's a triangle will allow you to locate an exact point
yeah.
with multiple lines.
Yeah, because
don't
if
like
you plot
that?
points, then you have an idea. But if you don't, that 0.35 miles could be at any slope or any angle.
So you just
You slope it to where it meets
to
into
wherever
the
it
trail.
intersects with something else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyways, those are some things I've been thinking a little bit about. We can talk more about the shadow too, because that was the other clue that came out on Friday, and that one's got me scratching my head because the clue was the shadow is something on Google satellite view of Google Maps that's going to tell you a directional way that you need to head.
It's actually this is actually good to talk about because I think some people have been confused about the image.
Yeah, because the image
It
they
was
shared,
not a satellite view image.
yeah, what
And
they
so
shared
people
was
have
like
been-
the sphere view or like the person view, and not a satellite view.
So a lot of people have been going into trails, looking and scrolling through all the image to see if they can find like a shadow, which it's just, I mean, you're looking at it from above. That is the satellite view. You look at it from above. Someone shared a picture of Mount Wire radio tower that has this perfectly distinct shadow. And I think it's going to be something exactly like that.
I totally agree because
Man-made or
Yeah.
a very distinct feature with a shadow.
I think a lot of people are looking in the mountains for this, like, try to find some shadowing of the mountains that look like a shape. To me, mountains are just like there's too much, like just
there's shadow all over
yeah,
the place.
yeah,
You can't.
and not any that are going to be very clearly pointing one direction. So to me, this shadow needs to be something man-made. The fact that they said that you're going to be in your car at this point makes it even more like something I suspect it's a man-made thing, like a steeple of a tower,
Yeah.
like St. Madeline's Cathedral. You look at that in Google Maps, that steeple is very clearly pointing one direction. The Mount Wire is a really good example.
You made a good point earlier that I want to bring up, which is this is a little bit frustrating because all of the shadows should be pointing, which direction did you say? East? So it doesn't
depends
matter
on what
where-
time of day.
But we're thinking the morning because
Yeah, I mean,
of the
it's like
references to the morning in the poem. And
And you're talking about the shadow. Sorry. Yeah, they clarified that. It doesn't matter what time of day it is because you're going off of the image.
Right.
Google
Yeah.
Maps,
Going
which,
after the satellite
which
image.
are showing
But I'm
the
saying
morning.
what time of day that image was taken.
You said they are showing
Yeah,
morning?
they're showing the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's like, great, sweet. It's going east towards the mountain range. Like, we knew we were going to go into that mountain range anyway. It's the whole Wasatch Front.
Right.
Sweet. Like it doesn't help me very much unless it's a very clear shadow and you can like
And
follow that pretty clearly to like a
trail
a
or
trail or-
trailhead or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just if it's too far away from the mountains, the more that general directional clue of the shadow becomes like arbitrary.
Right.
The closer you get to the mountains, it's a little bit better. It could be pointing to, oh, that's pointing towards 2 or 3 trailheads. Okay, now let's look at the lobster line. Let's look at the ice cream line and see if it narrows it down for us. But I don't know. The shadow thing has got me scratching my head.
I mean, it all has me scraping my head.
The car, that was the other clue. Here's something.
He just got me all mixed up on that.
Just scraping my head.
Scraping my head. The car line, I want to point out something I think important about the car line, because the car is in between lines 4 and 5, I believe.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you're out of your car by line 5. It just means you're in your car.
I don't think there's anything there.
I do. They're not.
It's not nothing.
They're not
you're
definitively
right.
saying you get out of your car between those two.
They're
lines.
just saying up
You're
until
right.
then.
You are totally right, but that is almost a red herring. If they literally are saying, if you're still in your car by line 6 and they're saying, oh, you're in your car at line 4, like that's a little bit sneaky.
I don't think it is, because
And
they're
not
giving
trying to
you
do
a
that.
basement. They're not giving you a ceiling, right? Like they're setting the like, hey, you'll be up into your car at this point. So stop trying to think about things on a trail.
Why do
In
you think
lines
they're
2 and 3?
Why
and
do you think
4.
they're being sneaky here? I don't think they're being sneaky.
I don't think that's a sneaky thing.
I don't think it's sneaky. I think
very
it's just adding
This is
some
the
clarity,
sneakiest.
adding some clarity without being too.
on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a good chance that you are getting out of your car between those lines, but that's not.
But they're not
Clearly,
saying
definitively
that you
saying that.
need to.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you could be in your car until.
Is there a
line
reason you
10.
want that to be true, or are you just making that
We're
point
just.
to
I think
say
it's just,
that's
you're
a
just making that
possibility?
distinction. Just
yeah,
saying.
because I
that.
think
Yeah,
if
I
people
mean-
are looking that, hey, at this line, I have to be out of my car. They said the hint, I have to be out.
I agree
That
it's
would
a
be an
possibility.
incorrect assumption.
Yeah, I agree it's a possibility for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say most likely that is where you're getting out of your car.
You want to make a bet on
Let's
it,
make
Chad?
a bet on it, please.
Oh, we've
I
done
would love
so many bets.
You've done one bet.
All we've been doing is betting.
And you.
This is a betting podcast.
Hey, maybe
Ironically-
we're not a history podcast. We're a betting podcast.
Speaking
They don't
of,
have
were
that
we
genre.
recording when I asked him what the over/under was on days?
No, we weren't.
We weren't.
recording.
So after the podcast, I asked, "Okay, we're gonna release this episode
this is something
tonight."
we edited out.
No, after we finished Punkleball, I just said, "Okay, we're gonna release this tonight." John and Dave, what do you think the over/under is on days until the treasure gets found? And what did they say? A week?
Yeah, I thought they said 6 days.
6 days. And so we're over that, obviously,
Yeah.
from when we
So,
Some other
recorded.
Dave, you owe us $20.
Some other fun information was that I don't know if this was going to be helpful or interesting to anyone, but they identified about a month as their preferred length
Right.
for a treasure hunt. And so we're past that. And so obviously we've noticed that the clues and hints are getting a lot more obvious.
I think this next hint's going to be big. I think it's going to be found
Well,
this
they
weekend.
did say that.
Yeah. It's going to be found
Right.
this weekend is my guess.
Yeah.
So should we find the
Oh,
spears?
that's what we said last week.
I know, that's true. Okay, so a lot of people are saying that this, like an idea of a cipher. Okay, there's one idea that was thrown out here. Maybe some people are still following this thread. So if you take all of the words that have the accents over them and put them together and put them through the Google Translate, you get where numbers he
Hey,
arrived.
say it in Spanish. I just want to hear your accent again.
I don't have it.
Ah.
I just have the. Well, maybe I do. 1 second. This is really good content. Donde números el igro está última muévete.
So instead of saying Yego, you said ego.
Ego. Donde números el ergo
Yego.
está última muévete.
Muévete.
That was not bad. It was
That
better
was
than
not
you thought.
great.
It wasn't
but yeah.
terrible. The
Okay.
the Iego was a little bit difficult.
Okay.
But
That
yeah,
translates to where numbers he arrived are your last move.
it means nothing.
Or move yourself.
Yeah, or move yourself.
I love the idea of like a hidden message being within the poem somehow. I I want.
You want the lines to be out of order. You want there
the lines to be
hidden
out of
message.
order. I just feel
you want
like
the
that's-
drama.
For me, that feels like more doable for me. Like if I were able to, what?
Okay,
Just
yeah,
having
I don't like
having
looking
hidden
through
messages.
history books. I don't. I can't last looking through a history book for more than. This is the number 23 history podcast, by the way.
I know.
Hey, props.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's amazing.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, we should pat ourselves on the backs.
So, anyways, people found that kind of sound like a lot of people felt like it was something. I don't think it's anything. It's close. It's close to being something interesting. Like if it made a little more sense, like the numbers, your last move is the numbers, but that's what we already know. The the whole poem, the third to last line say the numbers which he arrived, what I observed. So
Right.
like, yeah, they're not like breaking some news here with the secret codes. But
Yeah. And it's also just like those words have accents on them, and
Yeah.
so you can't write that poem without putting accents on those words.
Totally.
And so
yeah. Okay, one more little bonus solve I want to share with people. This one we haven't gone hiking for yet, and there's reasons we haven't, but it is really interesting.
Do I know? I don't know what you're about to say.
I'll share it with you. Okay. So when Cortez was on his mission, when they were in
just conquistadoring.
conquistador around, nailed it. They would carry with them a banner, and different people would carry different banners with them, as far as like different conquistadors or people or leaders of Spain. Now, usually these banners had a saint on them. Cortez's banner that he carried with him in Mexico was, I'm going to butcher this as well, Nuestra Senora del Coro.
That was fantastic.
That was pretty
Christian.
good.
Thank you.
That was really good.
How do you translate that to?
Our Lady,
Our Lady of
the choir,
the
or
choir?
the chorus.
Of the choir, right? So it's Cordo. It's the exact same word as they have in the poem where the choir sings. That banner he carried with him everywhere is actually now preserved in Toledo, Spain, in a museum / castle. There is a Toledo trail. It's called the Toledo Bowl Trail.
Toledo Bowl.
It's up Cottonwood Canyon. It is across the street from the Alta Ski Resort.
But it's not in the ski area.
No, it's across there.
Okay.
At the base of this trail, the very base, is a church. And the church is called Our Lady of the Snow, which is interesting.
Which is close.
Close to the Lady of the Choir. Also kind of interesting is Mount...
Popo.
Actually, the Mount Izzy
Is
is called the White Woman of Snow.
the White Woman of Snow.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's just like connecting
I mean,
two
that's
solves.
3 connections. That's my.
But-
That's Chad's rule.
But that's a
That's my
random
rule.
connection to a whole different area. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
it is,
I
but-
found that to be interesting. But there's a church at the base of this trail. It's right at the base, Our Lady of the Snow. Alta California is actually what the area was called that Utah was in at this point.
when
Oh, it was
Cortez
called
was
Alta
around?
California.
Yeah. Or maybe just after, but like when Cortez like came up and they named Alta California. Anyways, that I don't think that correlates, but it's just something kind of interesting. This hike is 2.2 miles, so definitely be under 90
Okay.
minutes. There's some interesting trail shapes up there that are worth looking at. I think it's too close to a ski resort.
Can I ask you a question?
But it's
Yeah.
not in a ski resort.
No, it's not.
I don't think so.
Question, 2-parter. How many parts of the poem are a shape in the trail in your mind? Like, how are you looking for a shape in trail? And what part of the poem is the most likely part that is a shape in the trail?
I think it's lobsters.
That's the thing that comes to mind too. Is the
People
lobster
have.
claw.
I've seen some pretty crazy, like on the nose crows.
Yeah, but they
crow
told
on the
shapes?
beak crows?
but they already told nice. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
That's
Kate.
funny. Yeah.
They've
Although the beak is like the mouth, so
well, what's the nose
What's
of
the
the
nose?
bird?
mid beak. I have no idea.
Um,
So dumb. Okay, keep going.
So, but they've already told us in the hint that the crow line is specifically for as the crow flies.
As
It's
looking
directional.
at it from a
Yeah, that's why I go away from that one. But it's like I've seen people looking for ice cream
I don't know.
for noses. I've seen people like see have like the outline of a face in the trail, and the eye is where the treasure is. I don't.
You know what? I think I
that.
take it back. I think the ice cream line. I think the reason why I'm not looking for ice cream. Stop looking for ice cream. They wouldn't tell you where do you learn to smell ice cream.
What line is the ice cream line? Isn't that the third?
1, 2,
No, it's like
3,
six.
4, 5,
Okay.
fifth.
Sorry, never mind. Don't worry
They wouldn't tell you that line. It wouldn't be phrased that way just to look for ice cream. It's where do you learn to smell ice cream? So there's something in that line which would be more like a mouth. I would be more interested in mouth because we know you have to taste ice cream to learn the smell. So yeah, look for something that's in the shape of a mouth, and that's a very basic shape. But people are always like saying things that are like, hey, this looks like an ice cream cone. It's not an ice cream cone. Ice cream's in the sentence, but you're not looking for an ice cream cone. Otherwise, they would have just said something with an ice cream. They wouldn't throw in, where do you learn to smell ice cream?
Yeah.
I have the same problem with the lobsters. Did we eat lobsters in the past? What's the point of in the past? If you're just looking for a lobster claw, why is it did we
Why
eat?
in the past?
And why in the past?
Because that's what rhymes. You have to say pasado to rhyme with.
Yeah, but I don't
Whatever.
think they're going to
Helado.
just throw BS in there just to rhyme.
You know, it has to rhyme.
I know, but they
mean-
could find different ways to rhyme things without just saying in the past.
I don't know
I
because
mean-
auto is a past tense conjugation, is it not? Auto?
Yeah, but I wonder, has every poem had the shape of the trail referenced in it?
Yeah, upside down church. You
And
had
the
and the
birds.
birds feed, and then I don't know that.
I
other
think
poem was
both
before our
the
time.
ice cream, whichever part of the ice cream line. I think the mouth is interesting. Yeah,
Because I also
think
wouldn't be
both
surprised
that and
if
the
it's
lobsters.
not, if there's no shape references to
Yeah.
the trail.
you wouldn't be surprised. I think there might be two. I think it might be lobsters and ice cream.
I'm not
So,
I'm not
like,
saying that
you think they just put the smell of ice cream and
eating
where do we eat
lobsters
lobsters in the past just to
Lobsters-
get you lobster and ice cream?
In
As
the
a shape?
past, yeah. In the past, I don't think there's anything there, so I think it is lobsters. If what we are saying is correct, but the previous one, I do like your point about mouth nose. Why smell ice cream? This isn't in an attempt to rhyme. They deliberately said smell ice cream, so it's probably not the ice cream cone. There's something important about smell or mouth.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
I think they're riddles in themselves. You have to figure out what the line is referring to, and then that's
Probably.
the shape you're looking for.
Probably.
Not
Yeah,
just
that's
this
more
is the
likely.
word they mentioned. you know?
I agree, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if there are shapes in the trails, what lines are most likely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've talked around a lot of these things. We've shared a couple of our solves. Hopefully, some of this conversation's been helpful, spurred some thought. We're still working on it. Hopefully, we'll get a good clue this Friday. We wanted to finish off by talking through some feedback. Chad, we asked a question. Is that right? Like on Instagram?
Yeah, I put out a poll or question that was, what is like, I'm just, there are some insane coincidences out there. I mean, and I'm just going to read through some of the more significant ones.
So the question was, what's the craziest coincidence you've encountered
Yes.
on this hunt so far?
Snellgrove's, I'm not familiar with this ice cream place, but Snellgrove's ice cream sign that doubled as a lobster tail looking on satellite view over Timp. Which I'm not exactly.
I don't understand those words.
It's an ice cream
There's
sign.
there's an ice cream shop on Timp.
No. I
On
think
Tip.
that if you look at it on satellite view, it looks like a lobster tail.
The Snellgrove ice cream shop.
Yeah, I didn't look into this.
Okay.
So-
you know as much as I know. At this point.
Yeah.
Now we do know
Sounds
the
like
lobster has nothing to do with the store.
Correct.
Sorry. Where's that?
He
That
gave
was
us.
in the official clues.
He gave the clue.
Really? Okay. Did you guys see? Yeah, this person said Aeronical's random video of Mount Olympus. Did you see his story today?
Yeah. Here's
Why
something.
would he do that?
He doesn't know
What's
where it's
he
hidden.
doing?
He doesn't know where it's hidden.
Oh,
People
that's
need to
true.
stop reading into his stuff.
That's true.
Well, I mean, read
Well-
into it when he says this is an
This is
official, clue. But like,
I think he knew what he was doing. Maybe he doesn't know where he's hidden, but I think he knew that people were going to be like, "What is this?" He like zooms into a mountain, zooms out, goes across the mountain range, zooms in, and it's like, okay, what are you doing
Just
here?
mess with us.
Anyways, not really a coincidence, but something to talk about. In Ogden, a line drawn from Lighthouse Lounge past Lobster Rock almost underlines a crow. I assume they mean a crow in the shape of a trail.
Or maybe a trail in the shape of a crow.
Oh, shoot, dude.
Probably more likely.
That's a weird looking crow. It looks like a trail.
Why do I want to walk on that crow? Oh, no, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
All right. I'm back hunting on one of the first trails I explored, but with an entirely different rationale. It's kind of nice.
That's interesting.
Power pole at Donner Hill labeled 47.
Christian said something dumb
Oh my
here.
gosh.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Say it one more time.
Power pole, dude. That's crazy. Oh, that's funny. All right. Power pole at Donner Hill labeled 47. Brigham Young was 46. His age plus one was a clue. I mean, it obviously wasn't Brigham Young, but that's kind of crazy. Donner Hill, 47. Rock Canyon on Google Maps has a shadow of a giant crow when turned around. This lady's is kind of funny. She said, everything is 3.4 miles or kilometers from something else. I totally feel that.
Who was that? She deserves a shout out. That's amazing.
Elise Lowe.
That was funny.
Elise
Elise. Thank you.
Yeah, that's hilarious. This one's probably the biggest coincidence that I saw that we got. Director of the Goonies, Donner. Writer of the Goonies, Christopher Columbus. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know what we would have done with that, but
Well, we kind of thought Christopher Columbus was the lyric from The Counting Crows. Remember how we talked about that?
oh
The
yeah,
year he
that one was
arrived?
good too.
Yeah, but
I liked that
obviously
one.
it's Cortez. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys know more about this one, but Ashley and Tyson said Uinta/Cortez Arch under the Salt Lake floor. What is the Salt Lake floor?
I don't know.
we need some more info on this.
Yeah,
This is
we need some more
interesting.
info on this. I've never heard of a Cortez Arch.
There's
I've never heard of the Salt Lake floor.
There's some random stuff that have Cortez. Like there's a Cortez Street in Salt Lake City.
I saw that. Yeah, I was looking at that, messing around there a little bit. Speaking of streets,
do
Brian
tell.
the Sly.
Messing around on Cortez Street.
Are you driving
Yeah.
forwards or backwards? Is it a manual or stick shift?
That's okay. That was funny, adjacent. B Street and Bonneville Shoreline Trail. If you know, you know.
Well, I don't know what he's referring to now. Like the Magdalene Choir. The Magdalene Cathedral in
Sounds
Salt
like
Lake.
you know exactly what he's referring to.
Well, I don't really. So, like the Magdalene Cathedral is on B Street in Salt Lake, and actually B52, if you're looking for like an address on B Street, is right across the street from Madeleine's Choir, and like the shadow of the steeple is like pointing that way. So rock lobster. I mean, there are two interesting things about that. I don't know what it does. Does it kind of generally send you over to Red Butte, like trails? That's kind of generally where it's pointing.
Yeah.
Don't really have many connections from there.
Yeah, I mean, the cathedral was kind of a loose connection anyways. So, like, tying two loose connections together doesn't sound super
I mean, I honestly
coincidental
like
to me.
if you asked me what I think is the most simple, easy to like justify explanation for a place where the choir sings, I
It's
would
a
say
church.
a church, and based on the Spanish and the Cortez theme, I would say a Spanish Catholic cathedral.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure.
All right, and then the last one. Jim Bridger had rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
I don't know
That's the gold
if we
that
know what
cures,
coincidences mean.
gold that cures, or if you have a pain that is cured by gold.
no, we got it. Yeah.
Here's what I don't like about your guys' criticism of this one, because I do think it's a coincidence. Jim
Okay. Yeah. Good.
What?
Do you imagine in your wildest dreams that Dave and John shared the salt to this poem, and they said, "We know that he is Cortez, but as we know, Jim Bridger had rheumatoid arthritis, and arthritis is cured somewhat with gold." And Jim Bridger visited Utah once.
Yes, I feel like people aren't going to see what we just saw with you waving your hand in the air. Man,
no,
that
I know
was funny.
there people are sharing this. They don't believe it's true now. It's coincidence.
Right? Yeah, it's
but, like,
things that they're sharing because they know it's not true now.
yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's all we had. I mean, there were more that came in after we started this, but wasn't able to get to those. But
yeah,
thank you
again.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for the
your feedback.
engagement. We know we complain about some of the stuff we see, but we love the conversations.
I feel bad that we ask people for their feedback, and like half of them we just roast. Like we're not going to get feedback, guys. These are really good ideas. I'm sorry, we're not trying to make fun of anyone. I apologize.
No, but we're over a month into this. No, it hasn't been found. We're anxious as everyone else to see this through. So it'll be fun. Hopefully, I don't know. I like it to keep going. Do you guys want it to be found this weekend?
I like doing the podcast, so as long as it goes, it goes. I'm not getting frustrated.
What on earth would we talk about next week?
The next clue. I mean, is it Caden's anniversary? Can we make some jokes about that?
No, we could do that.
For everyone who's want to hear a little bit more about my anniversary, I know there's a lot of people who just probably want to hear all about it. No, I did not get some. My neighbor's dog died last night, and nothing kills the mood like your neighbor's dog dying.
Really?
That's what I've always said.
It's as true now as it's
the
ever
dog
been.
died.
So we had a lot of children that were crying, ours included, wanting to can't sleep, come sleep with us. So
Christian said something dumb here.
What? Wait. What, dude? Oh,
I did not phrase that well.
You just got the police on your tail.
No, I'm just saying,
We got it.
Christian said something dumb here.
There were
Christian said something dumb here.
No!
they were the tears of my children.
Cheers of children. No, dude, that's it. Oh my gosh, that's so
I'm
funny.
sorry. I shouldn't be joking about this.
Hey, listen. How funny or how cool? I don't know if it'd be funny or cool, but if we released you saying these things as like a
Catch me
behind the
outside
scenes.
after dark.
Yeah, because a lot of people want to hear what you're saying. They don't like the
I
Christian
also feel
said
bad
something
that people probably think that I'm like just making sexual jokes all the time.
which you are.
No, I don't.
Yes, you are. Every single one of the cuts you've made has been a
No,
sexual
some
joke.
of them are like
And
pretty
some of
smart
them are
political
shocking.
satire.
Some of them. You have said some pretty shocking things.
So here's the thing. I'm not that vulgar. I don't want people to think like the things were like crossing out or me like dropping F-bombs or anything like that. No.
No.
But I do have this new thing where I just like to try to shock Caden and Chad with things I say, knowing that we can cut it out. And I need to stop. I'm sorry.
And because our tolerance for being shocked is getting higher, Christian's comments are getting so far out there. And it makes me laugh. It's good stuff. But
Yeah.
anyways.
Great.
Bonjour.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I hope it keeps going. I like doing this. I like having the discourse, but I also am interested to see the solve. So if you do find it this weekend, we'd love to have you on and interview you. I'm sorry, interview me because I've got to solve that. No, I'm just kidding. We'll go out hiking this week though for sure.
Caden, one solve.
I know. I've committed to one solve, and I've got one cooking. So we'll talk about it next week.
You've got nothing cooking.
We'll see.
Shock the world, Caden.
No, but it's great. You guys have anything else before we wrap up?
No, that's it. I mean, do we want to say we had? I mean, it's 100% because of John and Dave, obviously, but the highest listened to episode we've ever had.
Yeah,
and by a significant amount.
I think we're going to crack 10,000 listeners of that episode. The community is growing. Thank you.
Which is awesome.
We're hoping you still find value in this. We understand that you probably listen mostly just because we're the only podcast on the Utah Treasure Hunt. I'm really ruining the day where we have a competitor because we will be lost. Hey, also, I want to make sure that we give credit. Like, a lot of these ideas, like the Mount Temp and things like that, some of those connections I found from some friends on Discord. Plucky and Courtney and Nikki. Thank you for helping to kind of work and finding those ideas. Claire, who I work with, she's the one who found the idea about the Nuestra Senora de Coro. So some of these ideas are ours, or we're taking and adding to them, but I also want to make sure that we're not just taking ideas from our listeners and passing them off as like our ingenious ideas.
Yeah, and if you guys enjoy this, if you guys could go leave us a review, we've never asked for a review, and we should probably start doing that. If we get to like, should we do something that's like, if we become top 10 in history genre, we'll like throw a party here?
I think what we do is I want to
You're
experiment.
going to do another bet. Are you?
No. I want to experiment with some merchandise. I want to make a Cash Me Outside or Utah Treasure Hunt merchandise that we'll pay for, and then we'll raffle off like 50 of these hats to the listeners or something like that. Raffle off like not costing money, but like just random drawing. I think that'd be cool. So if we get
fun. Yeah,
that'd be fun to get some merch.
Yeah, how about this? If we get to how many reviews? 100?
Oh, I didn't say reviews. I said if we get to top 10 in the history genre.
I love that we care about the history genre. Like, we really want that perch.
Well, if it just
There's
means
some
growth.
World War One documentary podcast that we really want to beat out.
It's a direct correlation to growth. I mean, we can talk about
Speaking
reviews.
of direct correlation to growth.
What do you say? That's funny.
No, I wonder if we... Anyways, we'll think about it. Let's think about it. We'll come up with a goal, and then we can tie a benefit to it. Not that the growth actually benefit. We're not making any money from this.
No.
So, but we can do something to give back to our listeners who've given so much to us.
For sure. I love that idea. It'd be fun. Then we could get recognized on the trails.
Finally.
Yeah, we won't have to like...
We won't have to ask if people
like,
listen
hey,
to
you
podcasts.
ever heard any podcasts about Utah Treasure
No,
Hunts
we're
at
going to walk
all?
in and be like, do you like my hat?
Hey. Like,
Can you read it? Is it legible?
it's funny.
Okay, well, again, thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one outside.
Ding, ding, ding.